you sign a bunch of logbooks, you see all these mistakes made over and over again. Even the weird ones I've seen before, you know what I mean? It's not like, I rarely was in a situation where it's like, I've never seen that before.
Wow.
Actually, that's untrue. Anyway, there's like one student where I was bamboozled.
What happened?
She...
I was bamboozled.
No, literally. Like,
you bamboozle me.
I got to a point where I'll give some ground lesson.
She's a student of yours.
Yeah.
Private?
Well, instrument.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying in general, I would give these ground lessons, and after I'm done with them, I just like, I like walk out of the room and I'm like, holy cow, that was sick. Like, that was insane. I never in a million years did I ever think I'd be that creative at teaching whatever I just taught, right?
You felt good about how you did it.
Dude, I was like, this is transcending. I'm like, I have to teach it this way every single time. This is insane. This is so good. This is like the best thing possible. I've never seen this on YouTube. I am on another level right now, right? I would do stuff like that, and I come out like, holy cow, I was sick. Nothing.
She got nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
She understood none of it.
Nothing.
Andy, you thought it was transcending.
Yeah. I'm like looking at this, I'm like, wow, that was incredible. The level of detail I went into, how I broke it down, how I compared it to real world examples or whatever it is, nothing. Yeah. But that was for a little bit.
She retained none of it.
None of it. I eventually figured it out, right? I figured out some stuff, whatever. And she studied so hard, dude. That's the problem. When someone doesn't get it and they study really, really hard, it's not even like you feel bad. You're just like, dude, you want it as bad as they do.
Right.
You want it for them as bad as they do, and you'll do anything you can to get them to where they need to get to. All right? When people put the amount of effort that you're putting in, and I mean, it's to the point where it's like, yo, this is way too much effort for me, but I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, you know what? They deserve it. I'm going to keep going.
Exactly to this point, here's what I tell all my students. We could never be in a situation where I want this more than you do.
Yeah.
But I promise you that you'll never want it bad enough to a point that I can't match.
Yeah.
That's what I tell them.
And that's what it was.
That's what I tell them.
That's the situation
I will meet you any place you show up with, at any point you show up with.
Yeah.
Show up at. But I could never be in a situation where I want this more than you. We can't. You need to want this.
Yeah.
And however bad you want it, that's how bad I want it. And I'll meet you there and I'll put in all the work. But I can't be the one pulling teeth.
Yeah.
We just can't have that
and
situation.
She was never that student.
She was motivated.
Always motivated. I would give her something to read. I'd say, read this, read that. I've run out of ideas.
So what do you think it was?
We figured out kind of, it was halfway through a flight. I mean, we were hours into instrument. I'm talking like we're probably over 100 deep.
Okay.
In instrument. Something had happened, and then I'm just like sitting here thinking, I'm like, dude, what? I'm trying to understand how it's possible that it was like a heading, right? She messes that up, and I'm like, there wasn't much going on. What could have possibly going on, dude? We both came to the conclusion that she's dyslexic, and that she's in her 30s, never been diagnosed with it, right? And then she's like, and then literally, and this is what I mean motivated, she's down to read anything. That night, before she even left the training center, she downloads an audiobook on dyslexia and is listening to it on the way home. And she's like, yeah. She's like, this is very accurate. This is the kind of problems I'm having. This is why I'm having trouble retaining stuff, X, Y, Z, all this stuff. Why I have to write down a heading, even though it's a simple heading, whatever, just stuff, just little things like that.
Whoa.
And then like all the stuff that I was like, oh, that's a bad habit. All of that, I was like, dump all of that. I was like, do it how you feel you got to do it. Because I'm like, we've been far enough where you can kind of understand and have a feeling of how you need to get things done. I'm like, you do it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you need to be better and then do it this way. Whoa. I'm going to be like, yo, if this is what you need because of some sort of, if it's it is a learning disability. It is. I mean, it's an impediment. That's what it is, right? If you need to do a certain thing to get there, then you're going to go do it. And I will encourage you 100%. And then literally it went from like nothing was sinking in to like 4 flights later, she's ready for a check ride.
Whoa.
Yep. And she passed it.
Dude.
But if I had known that for so long, I would have been way more efficient. But I mean, I'd never seen if she knew it.
She didn't know it.
She didn't know it. She's in her 30s.
If she showed up day one
or
and
late
said,
20s. Yeah.
If she showed up, forget telling you, she would study differently.
Yep. I know.
She didn't know it.
Didn't know it. Never went. Yeah. So
Wow.
that was for sure the toughest one. Is actually my last student.
Wow.
My very last student was the hardest one I ever had.
You know what? That really brings home how being a teacher in general.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
Oh, there really is.
I mean, every person you teach is a world of everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone deals with their own. Everyone have their strengths, their weaknesses. Heck, you dealt with someone who she didn't even know, she wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wanted it just as bad as she did, but I just could not. I was like,
I know exactly how tough that is.
Like you're saying that you'll always match your students. You'll get a student where you will reach your breaking point, and I was almost there.
Wow. I'm with you.
It literally seemed impossible, dude.
Right.
Nothing I could say, nothing I can do, no techniques I'd give. And like I said, I'd seen I mean, I'm not saying I've seen everything, right? But I'm saying I've seen a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, try this way, try that way, try this way. I'll give you 15 different ways, and not a single one of them worked. And I'm like, holy cow, I am actually out of ideas.